Yo, what up, everybody? Guys, welcome back to the Swahili Nation, and this is One Africa Forum Day 19. It's such a blessing and privilege to be here today doing this live stream with you all out there. Um, so I really appreciate and I thank God for this opportunity because sometimes we take for granted the beautiful moments we have. Sometimes we take for granted the health and this breath that we have. Sometimes we take advantage of the oxygen that we do have. So being here on this chair today and doing this live stream again, um, I feel blessed and it's a privilege to be here. Sometimes we need to be reminded that life is too short, that we don't have every single day in our lives, and we're not guaranteed to live forever because everybody will die. We know that. And I think sometimes, there are diseases and there's difficulties that we're going through to just remind us that, what, life is short and we have to appreciate. So before I jump to talk about it, I don't want to be serious right away. Please let me know in the comment section where you're watching from. All right. It has been a while. Haven't done One Africa Forum, and I took almost, I guess, 2 days or 3 days without posting anything on YouTube. So it has been kind of a while. Speaking from the guy who always do live stream here. So please let me know where you're watching from. Khalid, glad to see you're doing okay. I appreciate, man. It's good to be back here. It's a privilege and it's a blessing. Fanny Alamiu, appreciate. We have Fanny Alamiu there. We have Wakana Media, appreciate. So you guys, if you're joining right now, please let me know where are you joining from, and it's gonna be amazing. Let's just catch up first before jumping right away to the stuff and talk about what's going on or what has been going on. I think we should catch up a little bit for a while. So if you're watching this live stream right now and you want to invite somebody, please take a moment to invite your friend to come and join. Please share this link with your friends. Share with anyone you know that, hey, One Africa Forum is back and we are about to start right now. It's gonna be a beautiful day of talking, and I'll just share with you guys what I've been up to and what has happened. Because most of you've just seen my statement on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as well. That 2 days ago, I believe I shared that I've been sick. I've been going through some stuff, and I just had to take a break and to make sure that I regain strength that I had. So if we lost some people because of that, please invite them back right now. And I'll be sharing with you guys what I've been through and the few decisions that I've made, and how we're gonna carry on with One Africa Forum forward. I'm very excited to share that with you. So let me know where you're watching from and where you're joining from. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah. So guys, 2 days ago, I share with you all about my condition. I told you guys, what has been going on, and that I think that it was like the third day. It was the third day since I started to get sick. So I was already sick for a couple of days, and I was still pushing and doing it, but my body was very weak. And personally, I'm just gonna say this. Personally, I don't really use medicine, so it was a couple of days. I started to feel a little bit sick in my body, and I was concerned. I can say that I was concerned that, oh, do I have COVID-19? I was really concerned if I got COVID-19, because I was having a fever. All of a sudden I started to have fever, and I was having a flu as well, right? And I could hear that my chest, it was in pain, in so much pain. But then I didn't have any other symptoms that are there, so I felt like, oh, maybe I'm going through something. But in reality, it wasn't that, because of the symptoms that I had, and I just had to take a little bit of break. So that's why 2 days I told you guys what is going on, and that was that I guess it was the third day. It was the third day for me to share with you guys, because at that moment I couldn't push anymore. I couldn't do anymore. So I knew that at this moment I need to back down and I just take a little bit of rest to make sure that I'm fully recovered, and then I'll be back. So the first day I was off, was just resting, and then the second day I was off, just resting, and today it's actually the third day, and I can feel that my body is catching up, and I can feel that I feel so much better, and I started to exercise every day. Even after this live stream, I think I'll be going to exercise as well. Just getting my health back in track and coming back to do what I do, what I'm called to do, and that is, doing, this One Africa Forum. So yeah, so I'm back, guys. That's what has happened with me for this couple of days. Let me know, guys, if you have been going through anything, similar to that or something like that. Yeah, but it made me appreciate more this life. It made me appreciate, and I was watching this one video and somebody was saying that the most precious access, the most precious thing you have, me and you, we do have, is time. Time is the most precious thing that each and every single one of us has. Time. He was saying like time is worth. So forget about money, forget about the YouTube channel, forget about your job or anything that you do. But the most precious thing we do have, you do have, is time. Because without time, you cannot really do anything. Right? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, without time, you cannot really do anything. So the most precious thing that we do have is time. Time is valuable. Time is so precious, and you cannot trade it with anything. And that's what you have, and that's what I have. So when I was going through this experience, it got me thinking. I was really, really thinking about the time that I might have and what I should do with that time. And I think this is something, is the reflection that we need to have, all the time, because you're not guaranteed, how long you're going to live. But the thing is not just about living. The thing is about, how do you live? And what are you, if one day you're going to be gone, then what are you going to leave behind? How do you live? So it got me appreciate a lot about this moment, the moment that I have. It got me appreciate a lot about the life that I have. It got me appreciate a lot about, things that I do, knowing that, I actually have limited amount of time, and sometimes we might not be able to do something. And when you are not able to do something, then what are you gonna do, right? It made me think about all these factors and all these things that, all right, I have a limited amount of time, and if my time is at end, then what am I gonna show? What am I gonna show to him that this is what I've done when I was when you sent me into this world? So I kind of felt like it's something that we all have to ask ourselves, and we have to think about it, because it's everything that we have right now, it might be just taken away in a moment. Everything that you do have. I have that experience of my life being in this place and all the way going down from the scratch and starting building, Swahili Nation and this platform that we are right now. And right now, we're still building. Like, we're still down there building. But it reminded me of all these moments. And you appreciate more when you cannot do this anymore. When I come here and do this all the time, like looking at the camera and talk about this topic and that, sometimes you don't really get a time to appreciate. But when you are away and realize that I cannot really do this anymore, then you start feeling, a burden and all those kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been through. And it's not gonna be easy to catch up, but it's good to come here and to talk about Africa. So yes, guys, I'm coming back and I'm right here. Today it will be a very short day. Actually, I'm not gonna stay here for a long time because I just want to catch up with you guys, and then tomorrow we'll come and continue to talk about what we are talking all the time. But yes, One Africa Forum, we still continue. and we're still encouraging one another. And you guys, if you're joining me right now, please let me know in the comment section where you're joining from, and let me know how are you doing. It's something that I would love to hear from you guys. How are you doing out there? Yeah, catching up. So things that I'm gonna be doing right now, I am looking forward to continue to do some of the interviews that I was doing, and also continue to do reactions. Just like today, I released 2 reactions for the startup, but I believe there's more reactions will be coming, tomorrow and other days as well. Those are kind of things that will be coming here and do, and as well catching up with the One Africa Forum. Keep doing it. Keep receiving your suggestions. So you guys, all the suggestions that you have, and whatever that you want us to talk about in the One Africa Forum. If you have a certain topic that you want us to come and to talk about, so please do not hesitate to share that as well with us, because sometimes we'll be coming here and actually talk about it, those topics that you guys share. Here from Ethiopia, I am new to this forum. What is really about? All right, so Caleb, One Africa Forum, is a place where we talk about, love, peace, and unity. We are trying to find a solution, and we are trying to have a conversation to issues that are going on right now in Africa, issues that are facing us. So we are not really focusing on the issues, but we are focusing on the solution. How are we going to bring Africa together? How are we going to bring Africa, like two brothers who they don't want to talk to one another. They hate one another. Like, I think you are my enemy and you think I'm your enemy. I don't want to reconcile with you. How am I going to bring you with me together on the same table? Having a small conversation, if it's a deep conversation, having a deep conversation as well. Talking about our differences, but at the same time focusing on the future. Like, how can we leave the past behind and trying to build the Africa that is full of peace and love throughout the continent of Africa, and unity as well. That's why we have One Africa. So that is basically, in summary, that's what we talk about, and we encourage everybody to believe in love and peace, and not believing in war. There's always a way to choose, and I can choose either to be in peace with someone or to be in rage or in quarrel with someone. That we cannot avoid the crisis we have, issues and things that we're going through. We cannot really avoid them, but how are we gonna approach them, and how are we gonna solve them, right? So in case of your country, if there are 2 different groups, for example, what is going on in Ethiopia for such a long time, this one region, and Tigray region, and Amhara region, that there's this huge crisis that has been going on. So how can we bring these 2 people together who don't even want to talk to one another or don't want to speak? Because I believe there are people who actually wants to do that, but the people who they don't even want to hear that, right? So you have those 2 divided groups, and that's not just in your country, but across the continent of Africa and different countries. We have those cases. We have those cases in Nigeria. We have those cases in Congo. We have those cases in South Africa right now. We have the crisis that is going on between Kenya and Somalia, right? You have so many different cases. So we are trying to solve that, and we are trying to bring about solution. And we might not bring the 100% solution, but we are trying to have a conversation, because we believe that every movement begins with conversation. That's why the tagline of One Africa is a conversation for a better tomorrow. So Caleb, if you are new to this forum, that's basically what we talk about, and that's basically what we deal with. And I appreciate people who are here today. I have 6 people, which is surprisingly having 6 people, but you guys, you matter a lot, and that's why I'm here, and we're gonna do it. Even if I have 1 person, I'm gonna do it until the end. So that's basically what we're doing, and so many other stuff. So the part that you can play, Caleb, is you. If you have something that you really think like we should cover here, then you can always suggest on YouTube and on my Instagram, on Swahili Nation Instagram or Twitter. You can always text and suggest that guys, can we talk about this? But also at the same time, we are trying to avoid to talk about things that we don't really have solution. Like, how can I say, like talking about something that we don't have a say. And so we are talking, but at the same time we are balancing that we want to be sure, and we want to be careful not to bring pain, but we want to bring healing to different cases that are happening. So when there's a case that is too sensitive, and when there's a case that we don't see the way, then we are trying to, our main focus and our main target always, it has been a united Africa. So that is our goal, and that is our mission, and that's what we want to achieve, to have one Africa. Yeah. So does it make sense to you? Do you think like you understand what we're trying to do? This is what I wrote on my Instagram bio, that love, peace, unity for Africa is possible. That I believe that we can have Africa that is united. Of course, Africa that has issues, Africa that has, like, we can still have crises that are not going to go away, but we believe in unity. Because when we have crisis and we have oneness and we have unity, then we can easily attack those crises. We can solve them. Regardless how big or how small they are, we can always deal with them as long as we are united. So we believe, One Africa, Swahili Nation, we believe that the issues and things that we are facing and that we are going through, it can easily be solved by unity, by bringing Africa together, by bringing all the countries in Africa together. We have like more than 53 countries, right? Bringing everybody together and have one Africa with different culture, different diversities, different language, whatever that we have, we can keep, we can keep like promote them, but at the same time, the main goal is to promote one Africa, because the issues that are going on in Ethiopia or in Tanzania or in Kenya or in Uganda can easily be solved by one another within the continent, and not by going outside and trying to find help from outside. Well, we can do it on our own. That's why the majority of non-Africans or outside there, they look down on Africa, because issues that we're asking help for, we can easily solve by ourselves. We have smart doctors, we have smart engineers, we have smart innovators. Like if you go to America, a lot of people on top, people who are doing a lot of good work there, they're actually Africans. They're from Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? They're from Ghana. Those people in UK, they are in so many top places. All right, they're from Ethiopia. I have my brothers are working in Korea. They're doing amazing jobs. They're from Ethiopia. They're from, like, we have all those really intelligent people across this world doing amazing things. But at the same time, we are asking for help and support all the time outside, while we can deal with all these issues with ourselves. So our target is to actually remind each other, you know what, guys, there's nothing that we cannot do, but we need to come together and to join our hands to do together. Because what you cannot do, my country can do, or we can do. If there's a country in Africa that is struggling with hunger, they don't have food to give, then what we can do is, there's a country that have plenty of food. Here in Africa, man, here in Africa, they do have. What about having one Africa where we can solve our problem on our own, before going outside and trying to ask for something else, Yes, Tala Bless. Caleb say thank you. All right, Tala Bless is say, did you think we should have to start from solution rather than our problems? Let me reflect. Let me rephrase that. So when you focus on your problem, then you are exaggerating your problem. Like, let's say if I focus on their problem, the only thing that I will see is the problem that I have. But we want to focus on finding a solution, because finding a solution, it might be difficult, but once you find a solution, the problem that you have might not seem a problem, like might not even be a problem like the way we see. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, for example, us asking for support and help from outside of Africa. What happens is we see issues that we have there, huge problem. For example, you have crisis between one tribe and another tribe in your country. And then you go out to find for solution for a problem. Find a solution or help, support from, some Westerners or Easterners. The thing is, the issue that you have, it can be solved by yourself. Like, it can literally be solved by yourself. But the problem is me focusing on that issue that I have, that problem that I have, and I forgot that I have ability, I have capability to actually solve the issues that are going on. And so I'm going outside and search for help and search for support, while we can do all these things in our own. You know what I mean? And most of us, we like talking, we like complaining, we like arguing about issues that are going on in Africa. That's what happens when you focus on problems. You know what I'm saying? We acknowledge that we do have problems, but how are we going to get out of this? So that's why we're trying to focus in One Africa Forum, by finding the solutions. And even though we sometimes we may not find the solution, sometimes there's no answer for things that are going on, we pray and we keep finding. You know what I'm saying? That's what we encourage one another to do. So I have Sadi Chavala from Facebook watching. Appreciate, man. Blessed. I have people from Facebook watching as well. Yeah. So tell our best. Does it make sense? Yeah. So we are trying to focus on that. That's why we're trying to focus on uh, the solutions rather than the problem. Because what I've realized it as I've been doing One Africa Forum for a while, I've got a lot of complaints, personal DMs, messages, right? And even here on the live chat, sometimes people complaining about why you don't see this way, why you don't see that way, why you don't see that. We have these issues. Oh, I don't want to be united. I don't want to be one with this country. Ah, they're bad. I don't want to be that. That's what happened when you focus on the problem. You know that problem out there, but how are we going to get out of this? And for me, I have just one answer: unity. We need to be united. It doesn't mean that problem and the issues we have, they're gonna stop. No, they're gonna be there, but at least we are united. At least we have a common mind. At least we have the common goal, and that common goal is to get out of this, to find a solution to this, because we're one. So I don't believe in division, and I hate so much division, man. Like I hate division. I hate division just like the way I hate racism, and just like the way I hate devil. Like for me, devil, racism, division is the same thing, because that's what devil wants. Wants people to be racist toward one another. Wants people to divide one another. He don't want people to be one. But that's exactly what God wants, right? He wants us to be one. He wants us to love one another, to care for one another. And that doesn't mean that you have to assimilate and to be like those people. No, it just means that we understand that we are one people. The artificial boundaries we have in our continent cannot determine who we are. The different languages that you guys are speaking, I speak, that person is speaking, it cannot separate us from being one, right? Different race, because in Africa you don't just have black people living, right? Different tribes, right? Different nationality, it cannot separate us. We can still be one. If you are nationalist, be proud of who you are, be proud of where you're coming from, but don't let that separate you from the big picture, because Africa is bigger than your country as an individual. That's why we have 1 point something billion people in Africa. But in your country, see the number of people you have. Imagine if these 1 point something billion people come together in one unity and want to achieve, like what they have the same mind in their thought that, hey, we want to see development. We want to see change in our continent. We want to put to an end all the crises we have, all the fightings and the killings we have in our continent. Imagine if you have people who they have that mind, who like they are, how can I say, they're convinced to see the change in their society and in their communities. Imagine, where are we gonna be? Where are we gonna end up being? Yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. You know, I realized that today I should have posted this also live stream in the community tab and tell everybody that, guys, we're coming back, because when I posted out about going away, and I posted that, guys, appreciate for, but I didn't really update anyone that we're gonna start doing live stream today. Yeah, but hopefully people will catch up, once days goes on. Yeah, so that's why we are focusing on the solution and not the problems we have. Because actually, every place, now this is not just Africa, every place they have so many issues, they have so many problems, they have so many things that they're going through. But the thing is, how are we going to handle them? How are we going to deal with them? How are we going to bring about solution? How are we going to bring about change to the issues that we're going through? Yeah. So last time, I remember when I came here, I was talking about the last live stream. I was talking about war is not a solution to the issues that we're going through. And I think this is the software that we have to implant in every single African out there and in our countries. That, guys, it's so much easier. It kind of seems like it's so much easier for some people to straightforward to think about war when they have crisis. when there's a crisis between one country and another country, to think about, you know what, the solution is war. We're gonna beat the heck out of you, and you guys are gonna fail, and you guys are gonna join us, and you guys are gonna submit to us. That's what a lot of people are thinking. It's very easy, and I want to say this: don't take the shortcut. That would be my message today. All right, I was just waiting for the right time. Don't take the shortcut. All right, that's my message today. And let me write here right now on the title, because I was just waiting. That's what we're gonna talk about today, guys. So if you're joining me right now, please let me know where you're watching from, where you're joining from, and it's gonna be amazing. Don't. So if you're writing somewhere, please write that. Don't take the shortcut. Okay, and I will explain. Dear okay, I'm just updating the title here. And yeah, so if you're joining me right now, let me know where you're joining from, and we're gonna have an amazing conversation here today. All right. The topic of today is you guys are gonna be wondering what the topic is. This: don't take the shortcuts. This is good. If you're joining me right now, let me know where you're watching from, guys, and it's gonna be amazing. All right, guys. So that's the topic for today. I'll lay down a little bit of foundation. All right. Somebody say Nebue, and then I'll start talking about this. I think we have to look our problems, what they are really talking about. That's good insight. I appreciate that. You have a point. You have a point, Nebue. And Yole Show is say, I am from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and I follow you in every situation. How are you? I appreciate you. At the beginning of this live stream, I shared how I'm doing and what I've been through for this couple of days and what I appreciate. I think I'll update you guys again at the end of this live stream and talk about it. But Nebu Tesfaye, I understand what you mean, that I think we have to look at our problems. So what I say that we are focusing here on the solution and not problems, I say this very specific, that we have to acknowledge our problems, so we see the issues, that these are issues we have, right? So we see them, we acknowledge them, and then we find solution, because you cannot really find solution if you don't know the problem. You know what I'm saying? So what you're saying is exactly what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when I'm saying that we don't focus on the problem, what I mean is some people, they are looking at the issues and they're like, oh, this is the issue. You're my enemy. You've done that. You've done that. You've done that in the past. I don't want to be one with you. I don't even want to hear it from you. I don't even want to talk to you. So when you do that, then you're not really find a solution to that issue. So you have to look at that issues and know, why did it happen? And what can we do not to let it happen anymore? And how can we move from the place we are to another place? That's what I mean by focusing on the solution. They say you work on Real Africa, a unit of Africa is healthy touching, bro. Good. I appreciate, man. I appreciate. I want to see Africa one. How are you, brother? Kidis Haile. Man, I am doing so much better than how I used to do. The day I took a break, I stopped. That day I guess it was the climax of what I was going through. So that day and the day after that, it was hard. But I started to feel sick a couple days ago before that. So yeah, I was, but now I'm feeling so much better. That's why I'm here. I can do this. I cannot take day off more than 2 days. Because for a long time, every time that I want to take a break, after 2 days, I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I can't. And I mean, for 2 days, for me, it was enough to look back and to appreciate life and to know that my time is limited and that either one of us can live anytime in this world. The question is, how are you living right now? These are kind of things that I ask myself a lot. How am I living? What kind of image do I want to live? Not just image, but what kind of change I want to live. If I live today, I want to live something that will live there forever. Something that I don't want this to die if I'm living today. You know what I'm saying? I want this to continue to move on, right? So sometimes we take advantage and we take granted of the life we have, the precious life that God has given us. But I've been reminded that, Mika, your time is limited, and how you're spending your time. So to be honest with you, what I've went through, for this past, for this week, what I went through, like since last week and this week up to yesterday, because it was a little intense, it really, really woke me up that I want to do more. You know what I'm saying? I want to do more. And I want to spend the rest of my life I have. I want to spend the rest of time I have to make sure that Africa is united. I want to spend that. I want to do that. No matter where I'm going to be in this world, no matter what I'll be doing, whether I'll be doing YouTube or I'll do something else, whatever that I'll be doing, I want to make sure that Africa is becoming one. And the passion, why I got this passion, or why God gave me this passion or this calling, is because I'm tired of seeing people dying for reckless. Where I lived, it's barely, yet you cannot see young people are dying. Like if someone died, it's a big news. And pretty much you see like maybe accident, which it's not happening all the time, or somebody kill themselves because they kill themselves a lot, or someone is too old, so the time has gone, like someone is 80, 90, they die, right? But here in Africa, people are dying. Young people are dying almost every single day, right? There's so many reckless and so many crises that we have. People are dying just because they hate one another, just because they don't want to see another person alive, so they kill one another. And I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing news every single day, hearing from radio, from television that, oh, this book killing is this. I'm tired of seeing that. And I want to see people cherish life, because life is so important. Life is so very important. If you have been in a situation where you almost experienced death, you understand what I mean. Those people who they experience that moment, when they come back, they never live the same. Their software, their mind, their action, their attitude completely changed, because now they appreciate life more than ever before. And I appreciate life. Last time I did live stream, I was talking about war, and today we're talking about the Africans don't take the shortcut. We're gonna talk about. I'm gonna start building the points very soon. That was the last live stream I did, and today is pretty much the first day after taking off like 2 to 3 days, right? Those 2 days, I was reminded how life is precious, because I wanted to do live stream so bad. I wanted to do reactions so bad. I wanted to come back so bad and say, guys, what's going on? What's up, Africa? What's going on? Are you guys one? Are you guys loving one another? I wanted to, but I couldn't, right? But today, thank God I'm back. One day you must come and celebrate Mescal in May, September 20. Man, I will come. As I said, I will come. So I cannot wait. I'll come very soon. I just hope that God will open the door and I'll be able to come as soon as possible. I'm ready even to come tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, guys, I'm talking about, dear Africans, don't take the shortcut. The other day when I came here, I've spoken about why, like, war is not an option. And it's messed up mind when you have leaders or you have people who they always think about that. That is the solution. If I'm a leader and I'm thinking the only solution of getting this issue done is by war, then I am messed up and I don't even deserve to be a leader. Because it's like you are a daddy of a family and you're holding a knife to your kid because your kid stole something from you, or your kid came back home late. You don't have to prove that you have power, that I'm your dad, but you don't have to prove that. I know you're my dad. I know, the matter of fact, we believe that our parents, they're more powerful than anybody else. Like, it doesn't matter if you're really muscular and you want to take my life away. What I'll tell you that, you know what, I'm going to tell my dad what you're about to do to me. But maybe your dad is just weak, but we always believe in our parents. We see them as superheroes. We see them as people who, they actually change our lives. That's how we see them. So as a dad, I don't have to prove a point that, I'm powerful and I'm your dad. No, I know you're my dad. For God's sake, you raised me ever since I was a little kid. But that's what I see. Sometimes we have issues in African leadership because you have people who they want to prove that I have authority. You have police who they're being brutally to their people. Like, see what happened. Actually, today it was kind of like 1 year since NSAS happened, and what they were doing to Nigerians people, how they were killing those police. They were sent actually to kill and to violate a lot of people. Oh, issues that are happening in America all the time with the police, right, and black people. It's like, you are police. I already know that you have power. I already know that you have a gun, but it's kind of like you want to prove that, you know what, I have power, and this is what I'm gonna do. That's not leadership. That's not thinking. That's not critical thinking. The only option for you to solve issues cannot and can never be war. That is to both people and to both leaders. This option, it should always be out of our mind. We should not think about using weapons. We should not thinking about using guns. We should never think about that to our own people, to our own continent, because we are one. Even to anybody else, we should never think about that. Should not cross in our mind, because once you use that, you are taking somebody's life, and taking life of a person is not an easy thing. You're gonna pay one day for that, because it's not something that you can give. Therefore, it's not something that you can take away. For me, taking a road of a war, taking a road of violence, it's a shortcut. It's a shortcut. That, you know what, I don't want to have conversation with you. I don't want to listen to you, what you're talking about. I don't want to hear your excuse. I don't want to hear anything that you're gonna say. Therefore, I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do to shut you up. That's why, dictatorship, it's not a good way of leading people, because you pretty much shut them up, for them not to say anything, for them not to do anything. But you're not God, so you're obviously gonna do something bad, right? And that's why people, they always talk about democracy. And when I talk about democracy, I'm not talking about the Western ideology of democracy. I'm talking about democracy based on our norms, based on our tradition, democracy that you are free to share your thoughts without breaking the law. You are free to choose whoever you want. You are free to say anything. If it's a media, you're free to say anything without breaking the law, because we are the one that keep the government in check. But if you close my mouth, then I'm not going to say anything. Right? And I am free to share with you that, guys, war is never a solution. Fighting with your brother and your sister, it's never a solution. And therefore, let's not take a shortcut. It's good to see brother Ezra. Ezra is back, man. Man, I miss you. You know what? I'm gonna share the link here. This is what I'm talking about today, Ezra. It's very general topic, but let me share this. Guys, Ezra is one of the very Professor Ezra, I call him. It's good to see you here too as well. Let me continue to read these comments. As, the road towards the unity and love amongst us Africa is very long. Be patient and keep doing what you're doing. Never give up, brother. You're one of a kind. Appreciate Khalil. You keep doing it as well. Let's do it together. And thank you for joining, because Caleb is new right here. Thank you for joining our family. And let's join our hands together and let's work towards this world together. You know what I mean? Let's work together, because we can reach there. Someone say Africa doesn't need the democracy with Western countries trying to preach. Exactly, that's what I'm saying, that we have our own ideology. So, dear Africans, don't take the shortcut, because a lot of people, they believe in taking shortcuts, right? If it is success, they're thinking about shortcut. If it is gaining money, they're thinking about shortcut. The other day I came and shared with you here about robbery and all those kind of things. Those are shortcuts, that I want to earn money, fast money, to just get money, right? So a lot of people, they're in the game of betting. They bet money every single. This is not good for betting companies, but they're betting, and some people, they're losing their money, they're losing their company. Somebody the other day from Kenya, I heard this news. Somebody from Kenya, you know what? He cut his manhood. He literally cut this thing. Guys, he did. He cut it out. Because this guy, he bet, he's Manchester United fan, and he bet that Manchester's going to win. And he bet his own pee. He bet it. He put it on the table. So Manchester United, we've been having really hard time. They lost, and he had to cut it, chop it off. Here in Kenya, Africa. I'm sorry. I gotta say, that's stupid. That's stupidity. You cannot bet with your pee. I'm trying not to mention the whole name. You cannot bet with your, okay, I'm just going to say, you cannot bet with your peanuts and then you take it out because you lose. I cannot do that. I think this, I don't know. This is not, this is crazy. So, okay, leave that aside. The shortcuts I'm talking about is the new culture that we have, right? The culture of success that we want to see as soon as possible. We want to start something today and we want to see it happen tomorrow. Like if I start YouTube today, I want to see tomorrow I have 1 million subscribers, right? We all think about these things. We're all wondering about these things. If I want to start this something today, I want to get this. And that's why sometimes it's easy to just go ahead and to kill somebody because I don't want to sit down at the table and to negotiate and to have a conversation. Even if it will go for 1 year, I don't want to do that. I don't want to take 1 year to have a conversation, to have a negotiation with someone, to reach the conclusion. I just want to take shortcut. Okay, you're not listening. You either listen to me or you don't. If you don't, you're out. If you're listening to me, you're good. Then I take shortcut. And that's what happened. That's why people, they think about war. They think about taking a shortcut. That there's no room for conversation. And that's what is always frustrated me, that even if it takes 10 years, it's better than go on a war with somebody. Even if it takes 20 years, let's talk. Let's continue to talk. Talk. And that's what we're doing in One Africa Forum. Basically, guys, Caleb is new here. Every single day we come, we talk about the same thing, and that is unity. One Africa, one Africa. That's what we do. So some people might be getting tired of it and be like, yo, I don't want to see this anymore. But that's what I would talk about every single time. Because that is very important. And that is a wrong road to take. That's amazing. You say it very right. Because you say that, having unity, you say the road towards the unity and love amongst us Africans is very long. Exactly. And that's why we should not take a shortcut. I love this. Let me put it in. That's why we should not take shortcuts, because that road is that road is very long. And it needs, you say this, be patient and keep doing what you're doing. We have to be patient with one another. We have to extend grace to one another, but we always have to think and talk. Our language should be love, peace, and unity. That should be our language. And man, that's not even our language, that is God's language. God's language is love. God's language is peace. God's language is unity. Devil's language is hate. Devil's language is chaos or rage, anger. Devil's language is war, is division. That is his language. So I say no, and I don't want to speak to his language. I don't want to associate with anyone who speaks that language. I don't want to associate with everyone who's speaking violent, speaking war. I don't want to associate with any country out there who is emphasizing on going on to that. But I want to speak the language of love, peace, and unity. That's my portion. That's what I choose. So my question to you Africans out there is, what are you choosing today? Are you choosing hate over love? Are you choosing fear? Are you choosing chaos over peace? Are you choosing division over unity? What are you choosing today? My choice is love, peace, and unity. And that is wrong road. It's not going to happen overnight. See, the founding fathers of this continent, they started a long time ago. Nyerere, Kaunda, Nkrumah, Selassie, Mandela, even Museveni, guys. Museveni, sometimes we forget him, but he started a long time ago. All these people, they took a long journey for such a long time. Up to today, we have Professor Lumumba still speaking about this. We have the Prime Minister of Ethiopia speaking about the unity of Africa. We have a lot of people. We have this guy from South Africa, I forgot his name, from opposition party, speaking about Pan-Africanism. We have people right now speaking about it. But this fight, they started years, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. It's a long road, but we can reach there as soon as possible. I have Ezra on here. Ezra, it's good to see you, and it's good to have you today. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you. Welcome back to you too. I mean,
Thank you,
I'm
man.
so
I gotta
happy to
say
see
this,
you.
Ezra. I appreciate life now more than ever,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. Health is if it's not the most important, is one of the most important thing uh, we take for granted because when we are healthy, when we are all okay, we take it for granted. But when you don't have it, that's when you realize how important it is. So I'm glad you have recovered for the most part and back and stronger and better. So as as the saying goes, they say if the thing that doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So I'm glad to see this. I can't hear. Can you hear me? Can
Yeah. Can you hear
yeah.
me now?
Now I can hear.
Yeah, so I said I think I was being welcomed officially, um, to Africa, Tanzania. A lot of
Yeah.
people were texting me private and saying that Mika, now this is now you're welcome, and I was like, I don't have to go through this. And the thing is, when I was going through this period before I took a break,
Yeah.
I mean, before I took a break, I was already having really hard time, but I was trying to push. And then
Yeah.
appreciate you guys for really encouraging me to take rest because that's one of my weakness most of the
Yes.
time. But attacking that, I really like it was really hard to sit back there and not coming to talk about this. I think you understand that because you're there as well.
Yeah.
But it's I'm grateful to be back
Yes.
and to catching up with One Africa Forum and Swahili Nation in general,
Yes.
family
Yes.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. About the topic you're talking about, uh, there's a lot of people that do take shortcuts. A lot of things that we see in Africa essentially can be, you know, attributed to people not taking the high road, but rather taking the low road. You know, be it on you know be it on how we go about executing on uh, the aspiration of our people. It was be it on democracy, be it on economy, be it on social issues. We take those shortcuts and we tend to impact and affect the you know like the successful raising of democratic societies that respect and value each and every citizen of this continent, this great continent. So shortcuts is costing us a lot. It's costing us peace. It's costing us opportunity, and it's preventing a lot of Africans, majority of Africans, from pursuing their true aspirations. So shortcut is not a small thing. It costs a lot. It prevents Africa from fulfilling its true potential, and so that the process required to grow and nurture, you know, important
Mm.
African values are
Mm.
hampered because of people who are taking those shortcuts you're talking about.
Mm.
Sorry, I didn't hear the initial part of your conversations, but from
Mm.
just the title, this is what came on top of my mind.
Oh yeah. No worries. That's exactly your right on point.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, I was just trying to share about what I've been through and how I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
and just catching up with the last topic that I spoke about. That I was
Mhm.
alone talking about war is not a solution, and just building a foundation from that shortcut in all perspectives. War, it's a shortcut for me because someone don't want to have a conversation, don't want to sit down, don't want to spend don't want to spend a lot of time. I mean, we can try first time, we can try second time, we can try three time, like it doesn't matter as long as it takes. But it's worth it taking as long as you want, but you cannot just um you know forego that and think about, what, I'm going to fight with you in order to make you understand what I'm trying to say. Violence can never be an answer. It's not an answer, and we cannot even think about that. We cannot even consider about, doing that. That's one thing. Other shortcuts is talking about, the success that people, they always, want to see as soon as possible. That's why you have people who are stealing, you have people who are corrupted in the government, because they're thinking about shortcut. They're thinking about, themselves. It's, we have this problem with bureaucracy, and especially in our countries. Like, if you want to get something done in a clean way, then you're gonna have to wait. Like, I'll tell you today. Today I went to the bank in the morning to get something fixed, because now I'm back, right? I went there in the morning, brother. I stayed there until around 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Yeah, from morning until 3 or 4, sitting there, right? And waiting and waiting and waiting for hours. And then I went to fix a car to change the tires. I also sit there for like 3 hours. But at the same time, I can see, like, you have people who they actually come, and they cannot spend that amount of hours there. They can actually just come and spend like 10 minutes, right? Because there's always in the system, there's always a shortcut. And shortcut is, if you have money, then you can have a shortcut. Like, if you have money, like, in order to get the service that I want, I need to pay money to receive it. Like, the service that it's my right to receive, and I can receive freely, but I can receive as quick as possible. If I want to get it done as soon as possible, I need to pay money. If I want to waste my time and I don't have anything to do in a day, because that's how they think, then I need to stay and to be clean. You know what I'm saying? So the system that we have, the system that is out there, sometimes is forcing people to go with the shortcut ways, right? To easily give money so that they can get their things done quickly, while it's supposed, like, this process is supposed to be like to happen to us, because it's your right. So the system that is formed, or the bureaucrats that we are having going on right now, it's kind of like, it's everybody knows that if you want to get your things done, you have to take shortcuts, right? And that's what I
You
think.
have to use your connections. So you have to use your network.
Exactly. Yes.
You have to bribe your way around. You have to
Exactly.
use corrupt means of
Corrupt means to get your
circumventing the
things
process.
done.
All sort of things. Yeah.
And that is not just in a, so it can be in a small level, but also even when you go in a deeper level. I'll say this, brother, I was really hurt. Somebody who is working in an international organization here in Tanzania, right? I was sharing with me, long ago, was sharing with me and say that, brother, I am sitting there, I am working, but I feel sorry. He say, like, I want to leave as soon as possible. I feel sorry because because of the system, how it is. He said, because I see how much money is coming, like how much money is coming. Like, I see, because I am dealing with that, right? I can see how much money is coming, but then that money, man, it goes to these managers and there's people that are there. They're taking a lot of money that is supposed to go in the development projects, money that is supposed to go to people. Like, I used to hear these things, right? I'm listening, and he's like, I don't really want to spoil, because I'm in that system and I'm not a boss, so I cannot really do anything. And I, like, my boss himself telling me that, hey, you have to do this and this. So if me, I receive this amount of money, as a bonus, the money that I don't deserve to have, imagine how much my boss is receiving. And so he's
Mhm.
saying these things, and he's like, man, like, I really want to leave because I don't want to be swallowed with that system. But that's how the system is rigged here in Africa right now. Like, I know in so many places, but I want to focus in our countries right here. That's how
Yeah.
things are being done. That you cannot get your things done unless you give something money. And when the money comes, it just goes to certain people. And what you receive, if like your area, your street, you receive like 10 billion, or I mean, let's say, I mean, 100 million US dollars. If you receive that, then you were supposed to receive maybe even 1 billion US dollar. But you're
Yeah.
receiving, like, you're receiving the, how can I say, the I just remember the word in Korean, like the emojis, like
Yeah.
you're receiving the, how can I, it's not, you're not receiving the whole thing. You just, like,
Yeah.
somebody has already get it and used everything that want to use and give you the extra. That okay, I think this is what I can give. Then that's what is being distributed to the cities. That's what it's trying to do. So that shortcut mindset is destroying us from the small levels to even to the higher levels, and that is what is happening in so many
I,
areas and so many
yeah.
places.
Think of it this way. Okay, you have a
Mm,
bucket.
mm,
Okay, where
mm,
you wanna fill it with water and
mm,
transport it to where it's needed.
mm,
Shortcuts are like those little holes that
mm,
you put in the bucket, and so the things that the important thing that you're carrying from A to B, because of those holes in the bucket, by the time you get to the B, you've
mm.
lost so much on the way.
That's
I mean, that's the closest analogy that I can think
yeah,
of. Like,
not
let me
sure.
give you an idea. Like,
Mm,
you were in Korea, right?
mm,
And a big company like in Korea is
mm.
Samsung, right?
Yes.
Samsung
Mm,
is a
mm,
major company, global company.
yeah.
It's so
Mm,
global, nobody even think it's Korean anymore.
mm, mm, mm,
It's just
mm,
like it's you have to like really like be a keenly if somebody is keenly aware and
mm,
really follows things through and studies things, then they can
mm,
they realize this is a Korean company. Now
mm,
imagine an employee of this company who's in charge of sourcing raw materials,
mm,
right? Sourcing raw
mm,
materials for the company, and this person probably would be involved with going to, let's say, places like the Congo to secure some raw materials that are necessary for the production of this smartphone that we all happen, billions of people around the world are using right now. And so the shortcut component of it is that this person will think, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get that $100 million to my pocket. Okay, so I'm gonna shortcut it a little bit here and claim to be bringing to Samsung what I'm not truly bringing. Like say 10 tons of cobalt will be my assignment, but I actually brought in 7 tons, but claim to have brought 10 tons. And that the difference between what was required of me and what I brought, that difference is pocketed in me. Like that 100 million is my pocket. So, uh, in the context of like in a company like Samsung, that employee, I mean, the reason why a company like Samsung is successful is that they have employees that won't take that kind of shortcuts, that won't
mm,
go out of their way to make something for themselves at the expense of the
mm,
company. If
mm,
they were doing at the expense of the company, that company
mm,
would not succeed. So the difference between the African culture of
yeah.
when you are in a position of power, take
Mm,
the most advantage for yourself at the
mm,
expense of your people. That is
mm,
that defines, that characterizes the African leadership, the
mm,
characters and qualities of
yeah.
leaders that are out there negotiating on our behalf. They are
Yes.
pocketing more than they're actually giving for the. But
Mm,
that guy I was telling you who was working for
mm,
Samsung would
mm,
not do that. And in
yeah.
the
Yeah.
end,
Exactly.
that person has a
Mm,
better job security for
yeah.
himself, and
Mm,
that person's family has better economic security because Samsung
mm,
is successful. So,
mm, mm,
so the difference between most of the world's successful
yeah.
people
Mm,
and those in Africa who call themselves successful
mm,
is that in the rest of the world somebody
mm,
can see the connection between their own benefits and the benefits
mm,
of the organizations, the country,
mm,
or the community
mm,
they serve. And so they link
mm,
that. But in the case of
mm,
Africa, that person in charge of making that decision that makes a
mm,
difference not just on their life, but on the life of the
yeah.
people they represent, that person doesn't think. So in the context of Africa, that person doesn't think, oh, if I
Mm,
succeed, my community succeed. If my community succeed, I
yeah.
succeed. That connection doesn't make sense. That they don't make that leap.
Uh,
And so the
uh,
shortcuts you're talking about is It's about like people not being able to see and then and appreciate their own connection to their own community, to their own environment, and hence make decisions that negatively affect their community,
Yeah.
that take away the power and the agency these communities have and hand it over for almost free to something else. So, Congolese leaders who out there and pushing for the best possible deal for their resources, they are thinking, how can I score something for myself and my family? But
Yeah.
but they're thinking at the expense of their own community, at the expense of their own country. Hence, they don't get the maximum possible benefit they could get. They cannot optimize benefits there. You never optimize benefit through this selfish agenda that people
Yeah.
push. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's how I see it.
You're making a lot of sense. And let me ask you one question, Ezra, just for the
Yeah,
sake of having this conversation going.
yeah,
Um, you gave an amazing example about Samsung,
yeah,
and it's crazy when you see those people working. They don't just have Samsung, they have Hyundai, they have
yeah,
Kia. It's
yeah,
Korea
yeah,
and so many other companies that I
yeah,
can go on. But when you look at them, like you can never like when it comes to service, I think that is one of the best
yeah,
customer service I've ever seen in the entire world.
yeah,
How they will serve you, how they will talk to you, how they will listen to you, and how like she will stay there or he will stay there for hours to make sure that you get the service you want, and not
yeah,
even asking for even $1. Like they don't receive anything because
yeah,
there's no a culture of tipping in Korea,
yes,
so you don't really tip for anything, right?
yeah,
But when it comes to customer service, when it comes to what they do, you can call them. They can talk to you even hours to make sure that you try to get it. For example, if it's up, you have to get access to it. Like someone can leave the work and try to show you how to do it. Like that's
yeah,
how the culture is. They will never receive money that is not meant for them. Like even in hospital, if somebody treats you right, usually you're very happy and you want to give like a little gift. They're not even allowed to receive those gifts. So
oh,
not
okay.
so to the
uh,
point it became like a normal culture that when they're serving you, they say, no, this is my job. You don't have to thank me. You don't have to give me anything. It's my job. This is what I'm called to do, and I'm doing it for you. Like that's how disciplined they are. And that's why you can see like where they came from, who they used to be, because they used to be the poorest country in 50 years ago, but right
yeah,
now is one of the top, country in the world. When you talk about internet, the speed of the internet, man, Korea is up there. Like
yeah,
you guys, I mean, you
yeah,
can see the difference where I used to be there and I'm here,
yeah,
right? Oh,
yeah,
and like everything when it comes to customer service. So my question is this: for me, man, I know this will take a while for Africa to reach there, to get there, because we already say the issues that we are having. Like you have the top people who are working, they actually they don't do it. So if they don't do it, then everybody, that spirit goes to everyone
yeah,
out there, and
yeah,
everyone just the only thing they think about is shortcut and get like feed themselves and not thinking about collectively the
yeah,
people. So my question is, how do we get there? How are we getting there? If today I become a leader of Tanzania and I start with this different mindset, is everyone gonna follow me and be able to do what I'm doing? Like, how are we getting there? Like,
yeah,
how are we gonna get there? Because I have even a
yeah,
living example of our late president and how he was doing things and how he started to do things and everything. Like everything was really different. And
yeah,
Tanzanians were known as a lazy people. Tanzania were known as people that they like people that just looking down at, because working it was pole 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 means slow. Like if you want to get your bank card, you can wait for like 1 month. That is just ATM to get it back to you. Like if
yeah,
you apply for today. But when it was there, man, things were getting like this. It was like
yeah,
this right away, and you don't need to give money. You don't need to give like no, like for everything, every service like that, right? So those are
yeah.
kind of few examples, and some other countries they could have the same thing. But how are we getting there? Because it seems like everything is changed. It seems like
Yeah.
everyone is taking shortcuts. How are we getting there?
Yeah, I think to me, like, I think the example you just gave about Tanzania, I can give that example almost anywhere in Africa, and it will be accurate. It will be an accurate description of the
Yeah.
experiences of people in Nigeria, the experience of people in Angola, and all throughout Africa. But I think the
Yeah.
answer and the question that you raise is a very, very, it's a question people should be asking. And if you ask this question, then you are in that process of resolving this issue that we're raising here. And to me, it's about who is giving. The answer is, who are you giving the platform to? And are you giving the platform to people who have demonstrated throughout their life they will take the right road, they live principled and value driven kind of life, as opposed to very materialistic and very like kind of like uh, uh, kind of more like a more dehumanized set of position, like so let's look at Africa. Most of Africa is poor, and then if most Africans don't have the material, the economic, and then economic well-being, the material well-being that describes it as well off. Most of Africa is on the periphery, if it's not in poverty, but on the periphery of poverty, close to poverty level, at least materially, at least economically. I can describe people's well-being or richness and wealth in spirit, on ideas, or anything else, because I don't have sufficient amount of data. But the data that we have available, most people, and most of you, if you go down and really track people and really follow people up, most of these people are following what they consider to be a principled life. They're pursuing a path of what is like I have values, I have principles, I have and I live by those things. Don't steal somebody else's property. Don't do any harm to somebody else. Fear God, fear of God, and fear of Allah, whichever of your faith is.
Yeah.
So most Africans are. So the answer to that is, how do we elevate those people with values beyond materialism? Values. So when they define themselves, when they describe themselves, when they tell you who they are, they don't tell you how much material property. They don't measure themselves based on the depth and the extent of their material accumulation, but they describe themselves on the basis of what they care about, what they value, what is important to them, and their moral ground. Those people are not elevated. Those people are, but even they're like my culture as well. Like this joke where when you become when you are in power and you don't steal, you are a fool. I mean, I'm not telling you exactly the adage in Ethiopian is slightly more punchy than the English version, but like broadly translated, it essentially says those who gain power are measured by, and their success is measured by how they take advantage of that power for themselves.
That makes sense.
Like in Amharic they will say, "Sishrom yalballa sishar yikochawal." I mean, those people who are actually listening on the other end, they know what I'm talking about. And it's like whoever who was in power and didn't take advantage, they will have regrets when they actually lose that power, because they never took advantage of that power to benefit themselves, to enrich themselves. So that is what. So by elevating those people who have a degree of morality and set of value beyond what is considered material value, not just excluding material value. Everybody has some degree of value for material stuff, but what I'm talking about is those people who you want to elevate, who you want. So the incentive structure, all the way from childhood to leadership, from childhood to leadership, that incentive that you have should be about reinforcing values. reinforcing and then promoting these African traditions, the African, like essential core African values that govern the average person, but doesn't govern their public life, their public or their life in the position of power. So so the life and the position of power should be governed in principle and practice on these values, and then that will elevate. So this is my hypothesis. It's more like a hypothesis that will elevate those people that value more than just immediate material gain. That make the connection between their role, their job, and their personal goal, and the goals and the role and the goal and the values of their community, and that alignment exists. So that alignment, where those things are aligned, then they tend to. So you're trying to displace as a displacement method. You're displacing. You're not fighting back by telling people, by trying to convince people who are never going to be convinced because they don't have the value, but you're just displacing them by people who listen and pay attention to the value that you, as an African citizen, as a citizen of your nation and a citizen of Africa, care about. So I don't know if that gives you an idea of one of the ways
Exactly.
that, it's not necessarily the only way, but it's one of the ways that we can counter it by elevating people of value. It's elevation.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And it's funny that you pointed out that, because you spoke about value, and these things that we are talking about, like things that, for example, South Korea are doing, that we are sharing right now, it's normal things. Like, it's not something that it's coming from heaven. No, it's like it's our values. It's how we are supposed to live. But it's like, when you kill for a long time, you get used to it, and that becomes like your new way of life. But it's not who you really are. It's not who you were meant to be. It's not who you were formed to be. So all these values, somebody commented here, and I put here on the screen. He said, Caleb, he said, this is the new member in One Africa Forum here. He said, as a leader, the work need to be done on work ethic. And that's what I was talking about, that you have your job, you have your work, and there are things you have to do. Like, it's in your job, like it's in your job title. It's work ethic for you to do it. But people are not doing it unless they get money, unless they have shortcuts. So, like, we are losing our value. We are losing those things that we stood for a long time ago. We are losing those things that we stood for during colonialism. And it helped us to get away from that, because our ancestors, they stood with that, with those values, with that Africanism, with that spirit of Africanness. They stood with that and be like, no to this, no to that. We are no longer going to be slaves, because we are kings. We can be kings. We can lead ourselves. We can do that. We can do that. We don't need support. We can do that. We are going to farm. We're going to focus on agriculture, and we're going to change the economy of our countries. Man, we get from that place. But right now we are in the place where we are forgetting about our values. We are forgetting about, we're losing even the fear of God, because Africa is the continent that people do believe in God, whoever gods they worship in, but they do believe in that. We don't have that fear. And we have this new way of life, the shortcut way of life, that we want to see success right away. And when we have few people who are working good to bring about change in our society, we actually hate them, because we think like, oh, they're too strict. Why don't you just do this? So even people, we got used to the system, and we want our leaders to act that way, because it's easy for us to get access to do something. That's why it's hard. That's why I asked this question, because I'm like, but I'm grateful for what you say, because I'm like, man, when are we gonna change this? How? Of course, we need to start this from the bottom.
Yeah, let me give you another angle to it. Okay, think of it as a way of allocating resources. Okay, we have this certain amount of resources at any given time. At any given time is limited. In the long run, nothing is limited. But at a given time, right now, as we speak, there's a limited amount of manpower, limited amount of natural resources, and limited amount of technologies that we have. Okay, so what you're describing, shortcut approach, shortcut, which is the devious. I wouldn't say shortcuts. Some shortcuts are good, but this is the
Yeah,
devious
exactly.
shortcuts. Think of it as the method Africa has chosen to allocate resources, and no wonder Africa never seemed to find a way to create new resources, to expand the pie that we share.
Yes.
So because that's the thing. So so it's the most narrow, narrow method of allocating resources. This method of shortcuts, this method that is defined by lack of value, by lack of principle, by lack of morality. That method is such a narrow, and no wonder only a few elites in Africa manage to go through it.
They make it.
The broader. So it's just like, even from a practical sense of it, you have $100 million, let's say, in a given country. If you use that method, your chances of growing that small 100 million to 120 is that much diminished. It diminishes your ability to expand and grow opportunities. And then enhance, what it does, that it prevents you from having security on your job. So those people who pursue the shortcuts, they are actually they are signaling to the universe that I don't want security on my job. Okay, I have $100 million that I stole for myself, but I don't feel secure because there's no security there's no sufficient amount of security that you can buy from it, because you stole it from somebody. You took it away from somebody. You made somebody else completely worse off, and hence the result of continuous conflict, tensions, and continuously on that cycle, vicious cycle of you take from me, somebody comes to take from you. You take from me. So that continuous vicious cycle, that is continuously narrowing. Look at this. The African economy is the size of almost the French economy. The entire African economy is the size of the French economy. And
that's shame.
No wonder, because there are a huge section of the society that is not being empowered and enabled to be part of the economy. So they are sidelined, pushed aside. We're talking about the majority of Africans. So you sideline them by not spending time to eliminate those barriers, stand in the way. And those barriers are set up because they are a number of gatekeepers who just want to scramble on that little crumbs of bread. These the shortcut people, they just get crumbs of bread, and they're never happy. They're never satisfied, and they're never secure, because they have chosen a path that is less secure, that creates and multiplies new avenues of success and well-being, be it economic and social. So as a means of allocating our limited resources at any given time, is the worst method that you could choose. The worst on the list of things that you could choose. If you're given a choice, 100 choice to pursue, you have chosen the least useful, the least viable, and the least potent method. And that's why, when the right people are in power, you describe Tanzania. I'll end with this example. When the right people, like in Tanzania, are in power, with those right set of mind, like right mindsets and principle, then things are speedy and quick. When the wrong people are on that place, on that platform, those wrong people, and in our case, are people who take shortcuts, things are slow. And because things are slow, they make that little tiny breadcrumbs. They get the breadcrumbs, but the bread goes somewhere else, into another continent. It goes to Europe. It goes to China. It goes to America instead of staying in Africa. So I would rather be principled, valued, based on value and morally upstanding, and run the process that way.
Mm.
Instead of earning 100 million, I could earn 200 because I've created more. Instead of scrambling
Mm.
on breadcrumbs, I could scramble on the pie, on the
Mm.
actual pie. So
Mm.
so it's not like, we I'm not suggesting we have to be Puritans, but what I'm suggesting is that
No.
those people who are not Puritans should not be running the game, should not be running the show.
Mm.
They don't
Mm.
know how to run the show.
Mm. Mm. Dang. Appreciate Ezra for your insights,
Yeah.
and you're still here. Luckily, we have your twin Ezra. He is right here.
Oh, welcome, Ezra.
Eh, Ezra, it's good to see you, man. Welcome back. Maybe
How
unmute.
are you
Okay,
guys?
Good.
you are doing
Good,
good,
good.
man. It's good to see you
It's
again.
also good to see you, Mika. Back in action.
Appreciate, brother. Yes, I'm back. Hmm.
Yeah,
I am back,
today's
man.
topic, a very interesting topic about the shortcuts,
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
Phew. It's also a big topic. Looking at
yeah.
where did we go wrong? When did what really caused the root cause of if you look at the systems of Africa or of many African countries having to have corruption or or let's say if you want something, for example, what you made an example about you waiting somewhere and then other people trying to find alternatives because of not waiting and whatnot. Just going back
Mm,
to customer service in Africa, where people sometimes use their power because they are in office or you need them to get somewhere, you to get something done, you need them, and they'll make you feel that, hey,
mm,
if you don't for example leave money for cold drink or whatever,
mm,
you can't get this, you can't get this service and all that. I think
mm,
also like when we look at when did this thing start, why is it because people are underpaid for them to be in offices and still ask for money, or did society itself corrupt the officials in higher office? um eh, Me saying that is it's a question
mm,
as well, whereby we cannot always just say it's the people in the office always want something. This thing must have started somewhere
mm,
before, and others you
mm,
find that maybe society also taught them to say, you know what, if there's a queue and I'm a businessman, I need to get a service quickly. I'm just going to give somebody and say, hey, bruh, can we talk on that side? And you leave something, and then that person helps you quickly and whatnot. Is also society partly to blame for that? And if it happens, and society, what does it do when it finds itself where now other people are falling victim of uh, uh, an issue that has been now perpetuated by bribery, for example, where for you to get
mm,
a quick service or somebody to do you a favor, you need to give him something, instead of a person know that this is my job, I need to be here, I need to serve everyone accordingly, without fear or favor, without titles and whatnot, knowing that everyone must still stick to the
mm,
rules and the regulation of a country. So everyone must get their fair share and fair amount of time to be serviced and be given a service. Um, because those are the things that we also need to ask ourselves as society when we started seeing that if you go into a certain place, maybe it's the border control or the custom or whatever, if the issue is when you get there, even if you have your paperwork, everything is fine, and then you still find people that are doing such wrong, what do society do? Do we report it, or do we still perpetuate it by still giving to say, oh man, you can't pass, you need to just pay that $50, the pay that whatever amount that those guys are looking for? Or how do we report such things? Because I think sometimes society as well, it's crippled by certain things, being the fear to say, if you say this you'll never get help, if you say this, if you don't want to release the money, you'll not be helped. And those are the things that really makes us be not to develop as quick as well, whereby as society as well, if
Mm.
we stop and say, we're not going to take out this money and we will report these issues, whether some, because sometimes I think some people give up because they report this issue, nothing was done, and but the more people say we'll report this issue, and make it known that if you go to such and such border, you'll get such people. Sometimes action will end up being taken, unlike now just having to continue feeding into the beast that's killing our society. So all those things, in terms of a service, for one to know that, like, if you're working in a government institution or any kind of business, you're not doing anyone a favor. You being there, you're providing a service, you're being paid for that service. And no matter how much money you get, if you think you're not getting paid, you're paid little, that's why you are now taking bribes. I don't think it should be a norm for us as people to say that's still not an excuse for you to what's this, to take money illegally in a way. Because, and some people do it, they say, oh no, I'm doing it. Even the leaders, the up high up, the hierarchy up there, they're also doing it. But when we, as the ground forces of the people in the ground, to say, if we can say we're not going to sponsor such things, we're not. If you're meeting the police, you're not going to take out money. If you are in the wrong, you need to be charged, be it a ticket, whatever. So be it. Unlike now having to perpetuate a beast, it's like we're feeding a beast, a societal a beast that needs to be fed on a wrong diet. While we need to cure that beast, how do we cure the beast of corruption, bribery? Because this thing does not only fall on the politicians, also it also falls down to even the normal society, people day to day life, where people are I mean, living that life of, give me something, I can do you this, I can help you with this quickly. Instead of people know that this is your job, you need to deliver. If you feel that you cannot do, uh, your work is not giving you enough, go and do business, leave then the public sector, or leave whatever a section of society where you are given a responsibility to give us a service. Rather, just go and do business. Maybe business will pay you enough for you to live off well, or maintain your lifestyle then, you know because I think
Mm.
as society, as Africa, we've now normalized corruption. Not That's why I'm saying it's not just the politicians, but even society on its own, just the general society, where you get to a place, certain places, or certain states, or provinces, or regions, where when you go, the people will tell you, bruh, you need to have hard cash on you. Those guys, they don't swipe, they just want the
Mm.
money and all that stuff. And
Mm.
the society, why have we
Mm.
allowed such things to happen? Why aren't we highlighting those things to say, you know what? If there's such things, they need to be reported, whether the country makes noise about the region, so that a certain action to be taken. It might be, people might feel like, no, this thing fell on deaf ears. But the more we going back to media, how we can utilize our media as Africans to highlight even issues of corruption, instead of just media being entertainment only, but things of issues of corruption, issues of societal issues, for example, and um, that's why. And if we can know, as a country, to build the law systems that can really also make arrest and persecute, and people hold people to account. So um, that's where now, especially with the shortcuts in Africa, mostly it's across the board. It's not just a matter of people saying it's the politicians. You find somebody complaining about the politicians doing crime, but he's also doing similar thing on the ground, where he's buying people to get things done, instead of him to follow the procedure of a country as well. You know.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Uh,
I think what Israel just pointed out. I mean, really, like what I was saying earlier, the incentive structure that
mm,
you have. So people are motivated by what? Those people who are corrupt are motivated by what? And the system is built into it, that kind of motivation, where,
mm,
you know, given the opportunity, you should enrich yourself. If you don't enrich yourself, then you're like misusing the power that we give you. That's even the public expect you that. They say, oh, you are a minister, oh, you are a leader, oh, you are in charge of this area. And what advantage have you taken out of it? Have you given yourself land that you don't deserve, property that you don't deserve? So the incentive structure is what it's like, beats the material incentive and the moral incentive. The structure is very screwed up in Africa. So I say to this to African people, if your government and your leaders are not creating sufficient amount of jobs, good amount of jobs, I can guarantee you somebody's taking a shortcut. If your government and the people, your leaders cannot guarantee your food security, somebody's taking shortcuts. If you have a political system that is screwed up to a level where any political differences are addressed through the use of power and like muscle, somebody's taking a shortcut. So if you're insecure, job insecure, economic insecure, social insecure, political insecure, that insecurity, you can trace it to that kind of things that you encourage either by actively promoting it or by not doing something about it, like the way Israel was saying, by not taking action, by not standing up to this kind of behavior, you are in a way you're incentivizing those behavior. So you are poor, you are insecure because you've allowed your continent, your country, to be run by these little-minded people, small-minded people. Those people who cannot see beyond what they can see. If my worth is how much I'm worth, Mika and Israel. If my worth is based on the property I have, then I'm screwed up. I'm very screwed up. Our worth is much higher than the thing that you see.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things that you don't see. And let me tell you, let me end this by one last point.
Yeah.
We're not saying corruption should be eliminated. I can tell you that the Koreans who are negotiating a special deal in Congo to access these raw materials that are critical to making very cheap and affordable smartphones, they're probably bribing somebody in the Congo. They don't take bribe for themselves,
Exactly.
but they'll bribe somebody in Congo. And I tell you this, corruption is not necessarily, it's like we can't eliminate corruption. We're not saying let's eliminate corruption. We're saying that let's make sure if there's any corruption, it benefits. It's pointed in the direction that we want, not against us. We're not pointing the gun against us. We're pointing the gun somewhere else. That kind of, so we're not ending. So there's corruption everywhere. You look at Wall Street. Wall Street is the biggest financial center in the world. It's built on corruption, on sale of slaves, on sale of stolen properties. That's what most countries, most successful countries can be, and you can trace their corruptions and their wrong value. I mean, they colonized, they oppressed, they stole other people's property. So it's not like these are morally upright people and Africans have moral issues. No, it's not about. It's about do you use that such scrupulous method as a means of allocating resource? And the answer from my end is no. I would not use it as a means of allocating resource.
Wow. I really appreciate your thought.
So yeah, and what you're saying is true. Obviously, historically, we know that obviously somewhere a lot of things were not, the foundations were not done right, and looking at the systems now, as you made an example of the Koreans coming to the Congo, whatnot. The thing is, the currently in Africa, there's systems that feed into a monster that destroys Africans. So how do we change systems that are feeding into a monster where it's just very few who benefit, who takes the accounts, offshore accounts, whatever, and then not develop their nations, and for people to see the difference, because I think that as Africans, as much as, yes, I think also to negotiate in a way that it will still benefit the people, instead of just being one sided to say what's in it for me. If I'm sort of a gatekeeper in a region where there's cobalt or there's whatever mineral that's needed worldwide for electronics, what if I had to look at my situation and look at also the binding contracts, because certain things we can really bind those companies, those companies, they are in our mercy. At some point we forget that we also have power to negotiate and ask certain things, to say, you know what, if you're going to be mining in this area, yes, we can give you the mining rights, we can give you whatever, but we're asking, we put in things that we want roads, we want schools, you can help us with schools. Those are the things that your CSI projects, as a business or as a company, we request that you build those things for the near the closest villages around there, or fund something in. You must have sort of a CSI project, because currently as a government, the tax base can just go so far. You're not collecting so much, even if it's just two mining companies that are making billions. Yes, you tax them, yes, but you can also put extra things where you can know that it'll offload some of your responsibilities in terms of infrastructure development. You can ask those companies to say, part of the deals is all the mining companies in this region, they, since we have few schools, we have this, they need to build schools. There's regions in South Africa, for example, where some of the mining companies build some schools for some neighboring villages and whatnot. But it's not really an enforced thing. It's just some companies that they just did their own CSI projects. Their corporate social initiatives. But if we can do that and say, all the mining towns and whatnot, where we know this is the wealth of our economy, or our country, this is our foreign exchange earning regions, we need to say such things, to say those are the things where now you'll reduce this thing of a community being funded to fight against their own government, because they see the wealth in their own region, but then they don't see any development, no new roads, no anything. All the roads that they see is just from the mine to the exporting places. They don't see anything that is benefiting them there in their own places. But if we can hold them and say, in our contracts, yes, you've got the expertise, you've got the money, you've got whatever, but we need every project to have a CSI. Since there's a villages around there, yes, those people might not be might not have the formal education. Obviously you're going to hire a lot of external engineers from the major cities or from other regions or even from abroad. But as your CSI projects, we need schools, we need roads for those communities, that so that they can see some form of development, and also try to see, as those regions that are mining towns, because we have what we call ghost towns. For us to fight ghost towns after mining is just maybe, let's say, 15 to 40 years, or even 50 years if you've got a good mineral ore in the ground. So imagine if the mining operation is only for 25 years in that region to mine a specific mineral, for example. In the 25 years, we can say we want roads, we want this. We also put something that we know that government will not even take out a single cent from them, but those companies, because they need those minerals, they will put in some money. I'm telling you, they have the money for the CSIs, but some of them, they will just keep quiet. As long as you're not enforcing some of those things, you don't attach those things into their deals, they'll keep quiet. They'll rather do it elsewhere where they might be forced to do it. So we need to say, even those companies that are mining or they're coming here to do things, we hold them responsible to do certain things. And we hold them to say, you know what, in this region, for example, it's a new area. Like Congo is a vast country, many minerals, and most of the minerals where they are, you find communities that are very impoverished. Education is not being stable. Some of them, they don't really have formal education or tertiary qualification. They've just got basic. We ask them that, as a mining company, you need to build this training center, training facility to train the community from what we call a semi-skilled worker. A semi-skilled worker can be somebody who might not have a trade, but you're train, you're gonna give him a trade to either bricklaying or plumbing, or those are trade work. Those are the work that you can even do it without having to have a formal secondary education, for example. You start there and say, I want a training center for this community. I want primary schools to be built. I want high school to be built. I'm telling you, Mika, within a year, those companies can build those things very quick because they want to mine,
Exactly.
you know.
Of
So
course. Of
and those are
course.
the things that will help communities to develop at the same time, have the confidence to say at least we are having something, our children are going to school. And even jobs, you put targets to say, you know what, all the minor jobs, all from a cleaner, we don't want, maybe because people communities sometimes fight, especially many mining towns. I know from my country where in mining towns people sometimes block roads and say, this big mining companies are not employing the locals, which becomes an issue when the locals see that almost everyone in in those big mining operations, they are from different places. They are not people from around. So we tell them that all them, since the community might not have engineers, might not have whatever, but from a cleaner to a security guard, from to all very basic job, the semi-skilled job, you need to give the locals and make sure they are part of and parcel of all those projects, unlike now having companies that come with people from external. And also put frameworks to say, if there's small jobs, like be it a security job to secure the mine, or you've got cleaning services, or you've got a cafeteria to feed the miners and whatnot, they need to use local companies that are in that region, in that town, for example, a small business, so that there's economic activity, money also flows into the community, instead of just a big mining operation they see there. No one is really involved, very few people are involved, and they don't see the benefit of it. That's why they what close the roads, try to kidnap foreign workers and all these things, or even get somebody to fund them now to fight their own government. So things like that. If you look at all these places where there's many wars currently, it's because of many places that are more unstable in other countries, because people don't see, they see the wealth in their regions, but they're not seeing the benefits of what they are having, because they feel that they are part of something, but they are in a country, but they are not participating in it. So they just see it's somebody's project. They have nothing to lose. That's why they can go and destroy. They can join forces. They can be funded by someone who can say, I'll give you 50 US dollars every day or every month. For somebody who's staying at home, $50 in your country might mean something. Somebody will say, hey, at least I've got something. I can send some money to my parents. But he'll be in the bush doing, things that are not supposed to be even be involved in. So I believe that if we are having, we have to have plans in terms of, as a continent, to say, what is the, can we have something that we can call our mineral bill, a mining bill? What do we want as Africans from these minerals? Do we want to manufacture? Do we just want to export minerals, just like your Australia and your Canada? They don't care about those things. They have small populations, but they've got lots of minerals. They export, and it makes a lot of money to them. What do we want as Africa? Do we still want to manufacture goods? How do we go about it? And do we want to, because we don't have currently, that's why everyone is just doing his own thing, but at the same time there's this wish list of things to say, as Africans, we do want to participate. We do want to be shareholders in those companies. Maybe they should, as government, they should not be scared to say, every mining company in our continent, if you are coming to mine, that's why one nation is what we're fighting for. That if we can say, as Africa, if we are uniting on policy, for example, in terms of the economics part of it, if we say everyone who comes to mine in Africa, be it in gas, oil, whatever minerals, whatever mineral, whatever you're going to do, there has to be a wealth fund for the for those countries. And if we say we need a shareholding, it should be law that if you're coming, whether you're Anglo-American, Glencore, whatever multinational that you're coming, if we're saying as a country we need black shareholders that are going to work or have business, or even the government have a shareholding or a wealth fund for the government, for the country. Like if you look at Qatar and those nations, they have the wealth funds, and it's big. They're looking beyond oil. They know oil at some one day it's gonna run out, but they're already thinking ahead. You also need to be investing in such things that if Coltain, if DRC has that Coltain, they can have a wealth fund. Botswana, I think in Africa, Botswana is the only one. If I stand to be corrected, but I know they have a wealth fund, for example, now, and even their diamonds, their government has a shareholding. That's why Botswana, you have people that even go to other countries to go study because of the same fund that's helping their own nationality. And they have a small population, yes. But if we have to make such things where we know that we're not taking, and we should not be scared to lose on such things. If somebody, currently there's competition for Africa, if the Chinese say no, we won't get into this deal, We'll call the Canadians and say, will you go into this deal? The Americans, do you want to go
Yeah.
into this deal? But they want to do business with us. They will not run away. They will always threaten to say, you scare investors, you scare investors. But when they want to
Yeah.
do business with you, they will stick around because they know they need what you have. So we need bold
Exactly.
leaders as well, and bold people who can say, this is where we stand. This is, if you don't agree to this, what's your proposal? How do we meet each other? You understand? But we do need wealth funds in our continent so that there will be more money generated besides tax. So that means there's
Mm.
more money being floated into our systems that stays in the country, that can develop roads, that can build the same schools that we need, that can develop. Sometimes we will even eliminate us having to go loan money from the international funders and donors, because now there will be more money that is also in our system that stays behind from what we want to do. And if we had, imagine if we had one for Africa where no one will just go scot free, where they can just mine and have 100%
Yeah.
no accountability, and people, even the nation doesn't even benefit from their minerals in terms of extra cash. Yeah, it's tax
Mm.
we see, but there's more that we can still benefit. If we're saying, okay, we don't, the manufacturing part, we leave it to China currently because we don't have the power to, we want to manufacture, but we don't have the power. Are we serious about even generating power for the continent? You understand? So those things that are very basic that makes other nations way ahead of us is, we sometimes try to fight them and say the Chinese are doing this, but the Chinese, they have the industries. Those
Mm.
industries need to be fed with the minerals that's underground in Africa currently, and there's no way that they can be fed if they don't come to Africa. They know they can't. They need to come here and they'll need to do business with us. But if we have to sit down and also plan, because those guys have planned, they didn't just come to Africa sleeping and saying they're going to look for opportunities. They came with a plan. They already scouted Africa. They know where they do need
Mm.
everything they need in Africa. They know the map of Africa, where the minerals are, where what we need in Tanzania, what we need in South Africa, what we need in Ethiopia, what we need in Kenya. They already have a plan. They're coming in with a plan. But we are sitting here thinking, things will just happen. We're just talking in our corners, but we're not pushing even our politicians to say, guys, we need a plan that we're going to. When we're sitting down with the Chinese, we don't care how much billions they're showing you. Let's now look at the country. It's useless for you to go buy you're buying a Land Cruiser because you've got potholes in your region, or if you have a gravel road. Those are the things that we need to be fighting to say, you know what, look at have foresight. That guy, like, even if you get that money, now you have to buy a car just for you to drive in a condition that's not even nice for you as well. So look at the whole community. If we can have more infrastructure, you can buy any car, you can have anything you want, and it's not just going to be you.
Yeah.
It'll be beneficial for everyone in the nation. If we can
Everyone.
show them those things instead of them being cornered to say, because I think governments are so cornered because they are so under pressure to create employment because they have the issues they have in their countries. And everyone who just says, I've got a dollar, they just want to say, come, let's sleep together, let's do it. You understand? Instead of saying, okay, yes, brother, we see that you are in China, you've got the dollars, you've got money, and you want to come and work with us. We also have things that we want to propose to you that we feel that it will help our community. You, as a Chinese man, when you're coming here, what are you going to do for that community that you'll be mining? Can you just tell me, just to hear their head? You find that
Exactly.
that's when now you're also trying to hear, move them in a direction to see, make them see the other side, that you're not just coming here to just take and leave. There's
Yeah.
people that we need to also take care of, because we
Yeah.
those people are going to be a threat to your business and us as people as well. So if
Mm.
you're coming here to also help them, be visible to that community, to show that if you know there's a school, they still don't have enough classes. As a company, you're making billions, just build a school. Show the community that you're not just there to take from them. You understand?
Mm.
And
Mm.
as well, if we can say, when we are going to those negotiations, we should not fear those people. We should not have fear to say they are special. There's nothing special about them. They need
Mm.
us, we also need them. And Africans, if we can say, we're stopping mining, Mika and Ezra, Prof, if we can say we're stopping mining in Africa, we don't want anyone to come and mine anymore. Yes, we've got the diamonds, whatever. We can survive without those things. Anyway, most people will say,
Yes.
hey, we don't even own those mines, so let's close them. The Chinese go, the Americans go, we'll still survive. You
Exactly.
understand? Even though there
We
will
have
be
the
shortage of
opportunity
other
to
things.
make demands, not them. But right now it's vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. We need to show them that we can stand for something. And instead of just us selling ourselves short to just say we want bread, or you are given a brown envelope in the corners, they buy you a car, and for you to go and speak to a community and convince them otherwise, that's not sustainable. We need to look at, people should restrain from that, to say, you know what, yes, my brothers, you want to use me to speak to this community, you want to build a mine here, you want to do this, you want to do this. For you to do that, let's now talk for the community. What will you do for the community? Let's start there, because those are the development that will come. And when I've seen with some mining companies, right, here in SA, nowadays you find a lot of, where there's mines, there's also malls now. There's other activities, other shops that are coming, which means other investors are interested, because they know there's money in that environment. So they bring all those things, your malls, your shopping, because people do not just, if you don't have roads, you don't have those things, some of this development will not come. But when they see there's a mine, if the mine builds homes, for example, those, what will people buy? They cannot drive far to go buy groceries. There will be shopping centers that will come. So we need to stimulate even local economies, whereby the main source of our economies, because let's not look at the big cities in our country. Yes, they are pumping, they have got the manufacturing, they've got other things, but let's look at the regions that are really exporting what we, our foreign exchange earners are coming from those places that sometimes are neglected in the country. Instead of making sure that as we're developing, not few places are being developed, but every part of our country is being developed in such a way that you will not, even if they had to place you, like you look at some of the African doctors that leave, or others, it's not because there's no job sometimes with certain qualifications, it's because some people, they don't want to go in other places. Now somebody is thinking, I'm going to be placed in a village somewhere, there's a clinic or something there, but there's no shops. For that person, it's a frustration to, when they're thinking I will be living in such a place, which means I have to drive 2 hours or 3 hours just to get buy groceries and come back. So some people will be like, I'd rather leave the country, or I'd rather stay here in a big city than go there. You
Mm,
understand?
mm,
So those are the things that we need to not sell our shorts, but we need to negotiate in such a way. We need that boldness as we are negotiating the contracts. We should not fear. If the person doesn't want to do business with us, there's somebody next door. He can go to the next country. If the other country gives you the, it's fine. Somebody will come. We will go look for
mm,
other investors if we need investors. And also believing in our, I think I once mentioned this in closing now, that uh, uh, um, like as a country, like our government and even our people, to put trust in its own citizens. You understand? If
mm,
Mika is here,
mm,
they need to trust in Mika to say, if Mika wants to, there's a mining project here, the Chinese want to come and do. And if Mika is interested in partnering with them and go looking for funds overseas or whatnot, as long as we have a Tanzanian who's doing business and he's also determined, we know that even
mm,
rich people, they borrow money to make projects. They hardly use their own money in most cases.
yeah,
So if Mika is
yeah,
there and they believe that, okay, we've got our own
mm,
Tanzanian people. We need them to also have a shareholding in those businesses. We need them to be active in those businesses. We need, even if we target ourselves and say, in all these projects, we need at least a Tanzanian owned business that will have a shareholding in those mines or in those companies. And we don't compromise if it's the case, because we'll know that if a local has money and is operating in his home country, he's more likely to do more in his home country than go outside with the money. You understand?
mm, mm,
Unlike now, you bribe somebody to give you a mining right, and then the people there don't know you. You just come, they do the stuff, and they leave, or they spend 20 years, whatever, doing their operation there.
mm.
But anyway, let me hand it back to you, Mika.
Yeah. Um, I really appreciate for your insight, Ezra. I think you've said very important things, and I hope Africa is listening. What you guys have shared. But before I give you guys 1 minute for closing statement, I just want to say this one thing that it constantly came to my mind. When Professor Ezra was sharing, I just felt like this. Because that's the reality. Like we are trying to be very real. That um, and one thing that came to my mind is that when we're talking about corruption, corruption in Africa and how much is it, going on in Africa and pretty much throughout the whole world. And he mentioned that we do not want to eradicate corruption, and that is something that even personally, like when I'm thinking about it, like it's impossible to do that. It's impossible to do that because because people are too corrupted, and people they are used to that system of corruption. Like even though we want to reduce and we wanted to make it like work for the people, but we believe, like deep inside our heart, we are at the place where we believe that it's not gonna be easy and it's not gonna be possible to get rid of corruption. I when I was in middle school, I used to be in one of the club we used to call PCCB. It's PCCB. I forgot, but it's one PCCB. It's one of the club that it was about, eradicating corruption. So we would always like meet up with, different youth, different students to talk about different topics. How can we bring awareness about corruption? How can we get rid of corruption in our countries and in our governments? It's something that we're doing every single week on Thursday. And I think a lot of countries, they have, different sectors like that to deal with that issue. But it's something that is never happening. Like, for God's sake, it feels like something that will never happen. But what my point is this, is that African values and African standard, we should never look up to the US or look up to the Eastern China or whatever to find our values or to learn our moral values. We should never do that, because we have our values and we have our moral ethics, things that we believe in, things that are actually better. But for a long time, we have been taught or we have been trained in a way that we do not appreciate what we do have, and therefore we see what other people do have, it's better than us. So we are at the point where we doubt ourselves. Like, we'll say things like this, that, oh, we'll never be able to get rid of corruption. Look at US, they're corrupted. Everybody is corrupted. We can never do that. That's what most of the people will say, that no, this can never happen. In this world, everywhere you find people like this. But I'm saying, even if like US is corrupted so much, it doesn't mean that we have to be corrupted too. Just an example. Even if like that country or that nation, that part, those people, they're screwed up, they're kind of like this, it doesn't mean that we should be that way too. Like, that should never be our standard. That should never be our motto of our success. That should never be a motto of our values and ethics and things that we have, because that is different place, it's different countries, different nation. If it is impossible to them, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to us. It can be possible to us. And so what we have to look up to, we have to look at ourselves. We have to look at where we came from. We have to look at, we should never forget where we came from and where we started and how we started and where we want to be and how can we get there. Because right now, if I'm saying this in general, because this kind of mindset is in our mind a lot. Because when I look at first of all, there's no developed country. This is just my opinion. All countries are developing countries. I think this is the first place where the world started to create a little bit of division, that you have third world country and you have, I hate this analogy, you have first world countries. Like, Mika, you came from first world countries, you're going to the third world countries. This analogy actually made people to disrespect Africa, because third world country, who wants to go to third world country? I want to go to the first world country or the second, but not third. We're like at the bottom there. And not only that, they say, oh, these are developed country and these are developing country. But all countries, they want to develop. If they are developed country, what are they doing right now with the economies? Why they are constantly want to, take away things from developing country, to develop their country? If they're developed, why are they doing that? So it doesn't really make sense. But these are kind of how can I say? So they're messing up with psychology. They're messing up with how we see ourselves. So we reach the point where we're like, oh, we are developing, so we should look at developed country, what they did and what they're doing. Oh, we're a third world country, we should look up to the first world country. There's no first world country. All those classes, they are making them from themselves. I'm saying Africa is the first world country too. We have so much richness in culture, in all these other levels. So I had this analogy that they make it like they force us to think that Africa is somewhere down there, and the only way for us to achieve what we're doing is doing what they did to be where they are, which is not true. or to adapt to the ethics, to adapt to the moral standards, to adapt to the values that they invented for themselves. For us, we have to follow that to be where they want to be. We have a different journey. My journey and Ezra from SA and Ezra right here is different. Our journey is different. We are all living right now. We are all doing One Africa Forum, but we go into the different path. We don't even know where God is bringing us to. So the journey that all these countries they went through, it doesn't mean that that journey we have to take it. It doesn't mean that we have to look up to that. We have our own values, we have our own beliefs, and we should always stick to that. We should always believe in ourselves. We should always believe that we are developing country is not lesser than developed country. There's no developed country. That's one thing we should get out of our mind. That there's no such a thing. There's no such a thing as the first world country, and then there's no such a thing. We should keep that in our mind to build up the confidences, to build up that, how can I say, awareness that, you know what, we are able, we can do, we are capable, and what we do, we're on the right track. And if we want to get rid of something, we can actually do it. Yes, it will take time. Yes, it will take a lot of dedication, but we can do impossible things that other people they were not able to do it because we are not alone. We are with God, and we have that determination, and we can get it done slowly and but sure. We can get there. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say before I let you guys say your final words. Ezra, you're back, Professor
Yeah,
Ezra.
thank you, Aaron, so much for this. I mean, what you just talked about is like debunking one of those myths out there.
Mm,
First,
mm,
second, and third. How come there's no fourth? How come there's no
mm.
fifth? You know, like how come
Yes.
like how so it's a screwed up terminology. It doesn't really describe the true nature of how things are. I mean, like
Mm,
if countries are considered developed, if countries are
mm,
considered developed, how come they are around? So developed in
mm,
what terms? Developed intellectually, developed materially, developed spiritually.
mm,
In what terms are they developed? If they are developed in all these aspects, spiritual, intellectual, emotional level of development, how come they live in a world where their neighbor is starving to death or neighbor
mm,
is killing their neighbors are killing each other? I mean,
mm,
how can they be developed in a world where half the population of the world is living in the squalor conditions and they are cocoon in their own bubble of security, like false sense of security, false sense of economic and
mm,
political and social security. There's no security there. So there's no
mm,
development. It's developing. Developing is like means you are in that phase of growth, always growing, always improving, always moving. And
yeah.
to me, another myth that is also there is the notion that no country can develop through raw materials.
Mm, mm, mm,
Ukraine is one of the what is famous for a lot of things, but one of the things they're famous for is for producing the for being a leading country in wheat production. This is a farm product,
mm.
wheat production. They
Yes.
tend to derive more resources out of the production of their agricultural sector, despite the
Mm,
fact that they live in a world where EU and the US gives enormous subsidies to distort the incentive structure.
mm,
But despite the fact that Ukraine is not a member of these groupings, but they found a way to succeed in growing aspect of their economy that is essential to the world well-being. You look at countries like Botswana as that example. I think Ezra was mentioning earlier. You got Australia, you got Canada, you got even the US and even Qatar and all these countries that depend on raw materials. And they tell us, oh, you haven't developed your industry, that's why you're poor. No, that's a lie. That's a false truth. And there are countries in the world that sell raw materials and find a way to succeed from selling raw materials. and to be wealthy from selling raw materials, unprocessed materials. So how come the reason Africa is not rich is not because it hasn't developed industries or has developed industries. It is neither of those. It's because we don't have the moral compass that is defined by the true characteristics of Africanism. Our moral values, the compass we use, is not defined by what the morality that defines the ordinary African life. Our public life at the highest level is not a reflection or it doesn't mirror the true ground level values. So the disconnect. Okay, is the disconnect between our public life and our private life is where we are struggling. Hence, it is not what is material that is the problem. It is what is immaterial that is the problem. What is immaterial is what's governing us, and that is where and that's where people are taking shortcuts, and that's where people are wrong. Thank you,
That's
guys.
incredible. I appreciate Professor Ezra for dropping the mic. Um, that's how you finish, you know.
I don't know what to say to that, except to laugh. Yeah.
Ezra SA.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said, Prof. Ezra, about the moral fiber. It's what is maybe lacking or not embraced. Um, uh, 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 that's what some of the things that we are struggling with, where um, people to understand how things are and how things should be done in a way that can move everyone forward. And another example of a country that's built on minerals, South Africa is also built on minerals. Gold
Yes.
is what
Yes.
built most of the infrastructure they have currently. It wasn't. It was nothing else, but the gold rush is what really made
Mm-hmm.
the economy. They exported, like, I think in the 1970 there was half of the world's gold came from one country by then, and that's what built cities like Johannesburg and all of those
Yeah.
places. Even now, it's still a big mining country where certain things are not really processed here, but it's still a spin-off for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's another thing in closing is for us to look into to ways that can help us to put infrastructure in place for the general African people every day, because those are the things that can also build confidence in people to believe in their countries. Part of the reason why we besides the fact that we are given tech to say you guys are third world and all those things, and people believe it, is because there's nothing that they can say to stand and say, but we are doing this, that can build the confidence in them. So I believe that if with the infrastructural deficit that's currently happening in our continent, those are the things that we need to build going forward, in terms of looking at the whole society as a whole. Because I think as Africans, we are a societal, we are a communal people, we are a family orientated people, and we know that for the betterment of our communities, Mika, you love saying that if your neighbor is not at peace, you can't be at peace, that in a way that we need to build on each other, to say we need to build for the people of Africa, for the people to build confidence in the African people. And African people are confident, not that I'm saying they're not confident, but to have a joy and sense of direction, to believe that they can have a future in this country, they can build in this country. You understand?
Mm.
Instead of seeing envying other countries to say that's when they look at other countries, they put them in a high standard, and they crush their own country. They speak even worse of their country, and they even cast themselves. You know, the power of words. How one sometimes some of the words we should reject some of the words that are said about us as Africans, because it becomes a curse. We live under the curse of other people to define Africa as a war zone, a poverty-stricken zone. We need to reject such words, and start believing that we are building in Africa. We are busy, and we will not allow others to define who we are. We are going to define us such through such platforms like this One Africa, where we can express and define who we want to be and who we are as African people, and wise people, as intelligent people, and blessed people, and people that like, if you look at Christianity in the world today is in Africa, and people, whether people mock it or whatever, but it's something to know that Africans are very spiritual people. They, and yeah, it's that's just that for me from my side today, about building as Africans for the
Mika,
whole
can I
community.
add Mika, can I add one last thing? I know you are wrapping up. Just one
Sure,
last thing.
sure.
I think it's like if you were to look at so greed, greed that defines human character is in all of us,
Mm.
but it's not something that is unique to one particular group or race. Or but the
Yeah.
difference between Africa and the rest of the world, that the rest of the
Mm,
world has figured out the limit of greed. How far
Mm.
can we use greed?
mm,
Yes, we can generate wealth, we can monetize what we create through greed.
Mm.
How do I maximize profit?
Mm.
It would be what is Facebook is concerned. Let's say Facebook or YouTube. How do I optimize? And
Mm.
where does that come from? It comes from the sense of greed, the sense of like ownership, the sense of like I want to own more of it. But the
Mm.
rest of the world knows the limit of that. You cannot
Mm.
create, you cannot empower creativity through greed.
mm,
Mm.
So the way Africa is I call it the economy of tricksters. It's owned
Mm.
and operated and run by economy of tricksters.
Mm.
They don't, and then from the economy from these people, you cannot expect you cannot expect to give birth to new ideas.
Yeah.
They cannot give birth to new ideas. They cannot be creative and innovative. You cannot expect innovation from that. So how do you balance it? How has the rest of the world has done it? The rest of the world has said, okay, you can be greedy, but there's a law that limits you. If you greed hurt somebody else, you can go to jail. But
Mm.
go be greedy, go exploit, but don't hurt your own people. So you go
Mm.
to Wall Street, run by greed, but has a limit to it. There is a barrier to it. There are walls that have been put there, infrastructure, laws, regulations, and processes that limit the. Sometimes that process doesn't is not a foolproof. So you see crisis, economic crisis, recessions and depressions come from the source of that limit that I'm talking about. But they find a way to balance it, to counterbalance it by creating a platform and a space for those who are creative, for those who are innovative, for those who want to follow the straight line. In Africa, those who are following the straight line, you don't have a place. You don't have a space.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I left my country is
Mm.
because I didn't
Mm.
have a platform, a
Mm.
space where
Mm.
I could
Mm.
continue to follow a straight line. I used to
Mm.
have, people who are working in the intelligence agency of Ethiopia come to
Mm.
me, harassing me,
Mm.
trying to blackmail me to
Mm.
bring to allow their children or their connected people to come into our school
Mm.
because our school was supposed to be for the best. Our students were going where some of the best students in the country were getting
Mm.
access to all sort of places in the world, and they
Mm.
heard about it and like, oh, can I send my nieces there, my daughter there, my son there, so that they
Mm.
can get that benefit? And they wanted to
Mm.
use a shortcut. They wanted me to say
Mm.
yes, either through fear, through some kind of some bribery that will circumvent our recruitment process to just
Mm.
allow them to have a shortcut. And
Mm.
that's put me in danger of being imprisoned, harassed, or all sort of things. So that's for me personally. There's so many people out there who follow the straight line, but
Mm,
if you see more often than not, those people who follow the same line, the straight line, are the ones that are poor in Africa. They are the ones
mm,
that don't have, like, that don't benefit from the system. And
mm,
what we have to do is change the incentive structure where we're not necessarily fighting against the corrupt ones, but we're also
mm,
promoting the aspirational element of it. Not just only the negative part, the positive element of the elevation of it, giving it a higher platform and a voice.
Mm,
mm.
mm.
Wow,
Powerful, Prof.
powerful, yeah. And I appreciate for sharing that story as well. It's yeah,
Mhm. Thank you. This has been awesome. Thank you.
testing.
Meka, you know
Yeah.
how to come up with topics.
Do not take shortcuts.
Do not take
Don't take
shortcuts.
shortcuts.
No
Yeah,
shortcuts
that's
in your
powerful
topic.
story,
Nice,
you
nice topic. Eh?
know.
And look how
It-
wide it opened. It opened such a wide conversation. You know.
yeah.
Yes.
At the beginning, I was saying, I know you've been looking at this topic, and you're like, what kind of topic is this? But it's just like that. Whether you listen
Yeah.
or you don't listen, you just know that don't take shortcut, or I'm not gonna take shortcut.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a highway.
I'm telling you, this is like sometimes is like listening to your instinct is that's what it is. You listen to that instinct.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
what I feel like today.
Mm, mm,
And
mm,
then I'm sensing this is a topic. This is the issue that is important to me today. So
mm.
that's what you do. You give it to a platform, and we talk about
Yeah.
with literally what we did today. You give platform for those voices that are
Mm,
about morality, value, principles, and people who want to make a difference. And that's what we did. And that's what so essentially
mm.
we're talking and doing what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I feel so blessed, to have you guys here and sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your stories, your testimonies, and your passion. It means a lot, It means a lot. Encourages me and, push me forward that, I'm not alone. And there are people out there who are passionate and they want to see change just like I do. And I think some other people I want to appreciate for the people who were commenting here. I want to appreciate Happy Ahmad. I think it's the first time to see you here from Somaliland. I heard that.
Mhm.
I appreciate the conversation that's going there. Red Sea Youth, I think is gone already, went to sleep. And Rita, this amazing woman right here. She's always commenting really positive comments. I think I've been putting on the screen a lot. Appreciate you being there, Madam Araik, and yeah, everybody who has been here on the session. If I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry, but I've seen you. Yes, appreciate so much for that. You guys, you're part of this family, and yeah, let's take this thing to the next level. Boys, I appreciate you guys for being here. You guys don't hesitate to let me know if there's anything in your mind you want us to talk about. Yeah, you can let me know then the message. And yeah, and I think I'll see you guys soon.
Can I
Yes,
just
well,
one last thing, Mika? I think
Yes, yes. Yes,
look.
Honorable Ezra. I think I'll call you that
Your Excellency, can I add
now.
something here?
Oh, I don't know where this is going.
uh, he's black,
Uh,
but he's blushing.
Yeah,
Your Excellency, we
yeah.
something that I wish maybe on day 20, if possible, God willing,
Mhm,
the topic of this felt fires that are happening in Africa in different countries.
mm,
I don't know if you guys have also been following the story of Eswatini,
mm,
the Kingdom of Swaziland, where there's also riots and stuff, uprising from the community.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I was just saying, put the people of Eswatini in your prayers as well. And I was just looking at all these felt fires that are happening here in the south. It's the Eswatini issue and Mozambique issue. We know that there's soldiers there already. Yeah, if we can also that, I mean, the Tigray, there's just so many fires that are happening in this,
Yeah.
and I was
Sudan.
just as
Sudan is another
Sudan
one.
as well, the uprisings, the protests as well there, and those are not really televised that much, but yeah, it's things that are brewing, and I'm wondering what's happening. What's happening with the as if we are having mini wars and stuff, sort of an instability in our continent coming back,
Yes.
when we're thinking we are in the path of peace, growth, and economic development. And it seems that yeah, I'm seeing fell fires, and yeah, I know the story of Eswatini. It's the developing story. It's, in fact, it started
Yes.
last week. It happened early this year, and then it stopped, and now there's been a big uprising in terms of the youth in Swaziland, wanting reforms with the monarchy. I don't know if you guys know about the monarchy structure
Yes.
there in
Yes.
Eswatini,
Yeah.
how it's structured, and
It's absolute monarchy.
absolute monarchy, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
so there's been an uprising, especially the youth, the ones that are putting more pressure, and there's been a suppression of voices as well at some point. So I was just saying, we must just not forget, as we are praying for our continent, that we pray for all the fires, Swatini, Sudan, everywhere, Tigray, everywhere, that there will be
Yes.
peace, as we are discussing this. And if we can maybe look into it in terms of why are we seeing as if there's more instabilities coming in many places and all at once, if we can pray about it and ask, and maybe try to get a platform maybe to talk further about it. And
Yes.
yeah.
Let's do
Okay,
this. Let's
that's
do this.
urgent.
Yeah. Let's do this. Your Excellence, Ezra. Let's come back here tomorrow.
Honorable Ezra.
Honorable Ezra. Let's do this, sir. Let's come back here tomorrow, day 20, and you can catch us. Yeah, like you can just like what you did right now. You can give us a little bit of what is going on in that side, because you are from that
Yes.
side, of course, and I think you will have a better understanding about everything. So you can give us that insight, and then you can also have some insight of. I know a lot of people, they know what is going on in Tigray, something that we have been even speaking sometime as well. But we can have a little bit say about that,
Yes.
and see what we can do. Have that conversation here,
Yes.
and yeah, and take some moment. If we can take like a couple second as well. I mean, we don't have to pray with our voice, but just to stay silent, and
Yes.
to pray in our heart about all this situation. We can do that as well. you know yeah, I think that would be very encouraging to our brothers and sisters in Africa, and in
Yes.
Sudan, what is happening there as well. We can just have this issue, talk about it in a
Yeah.
different perspective, and yeah, praying for that as well together, like in a forum as well. I
Yeah.
think we can do that. Yeah.
I mean, like, it requires us first to really confront this issue, but also to put out these positive vibes,
Yeah.
and then positivity, and the resolution of these tensions, because these
Mm,
tensions are a result of all sort of complicated stuff,
mm,
historical and also present issues. But
mm,
like, by confronting them, we
mm,
are channeling positive energy toward them, and I believe, God, the Almighty Creator,
mm,
follows our hearts. Where
mm.
our heart is where He is with us. So, we want to shape our heart in the direction of empathy and sympathy to those people
Yeah.
who are right now dealing with these really horrendous experiences. That, I mean, sometimes those changes are necessary, but, like,
Mm,
but they don't need to be this costly.
yeah.
This is dangerous and this damaging to the
Mm,
society that we come from. So I appreciate that. I think, like, yeah, I'll look forward to that tomorrow.
yeah. Me too. Me too. Ezra, so remember that, Your Excellence, Honorable. Um,
Mm.
And
Yes.
one thing we can do right now before departure, I'll set here the timer for 1 minute. We can just have that, a word of prayer, not necessary to release our voice, but and people who are watching us live here, wherever you are, because most of the time we say, oh, let's pray, but this is the moment we can do that right
Yes.
now with your language, with your belief, to your God. However you do, you can do it, and us here we can do as well. In our hearts, just for 1 minute, and then we can sign out. Are
Okay.
you boys okay with that?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I would
So
love
I
that.
will set the timer, and we can have that moment. All right. Let's do this. Amen. Wow.
Amen.
That was
Amen.
beautiful. That
Thank
was
you.
beautiful.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think this is amazing. So thank you guys for pointing that out. I think we can start here, and we'll have a community that uh, you know, um, pray for one another, encourage for one another. So if people are hurt, and right here, this can be the time for healing as well. And having this thing going on, because it has to be different. We have a lot of movements these days, but it has to be different. It has to be something that can actually bring healing to people. And it's not
Yes.
us. It's when God is at the center, with however religion we have or whatever we believe. And yeah, I think this is beautiful. So yeah, tomorrow let's do this.
Yes.
Yes. Let's do it.
Peace, peace, love, and
Peace.
unity. One
Exactly.
Africa.
One Africa.
One Africa.
One Africa.
That's what we're praying, guys, for Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Hey, love you guys.
As,
Okay.
Bye.
as I
Cheers.
say, have a good night, and my
Yeah. You
brother,
guys.
Professor Ezra, have a good day.
Okay.
Good
Thank you,
night.
guys. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I love you
Bye.
guys. Bye
Bye.
bye. Yeah. All right, guys. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you for staying here until the end. It has been 2 hours and 30 minutes. Appreciate for you being here. Appreciate for you guys. Right now, I see Rita here. I see Shion Love. I see Happy Ahmed. I see Walde Michael Beirut. Oh, yeah, I see you guys. Appreciate for being here. Let's continue to remember Africa in your prayer. You know, all those countries. Tomorrow, you're going to come to talk about it, things that are going on. But for now, remember to pray for Swaziland, remember to pray for South Africa, Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, whatever you remember, Sudan, and all these issues that are going on in Africa. Sometimes we cannot save with our own strength. And that's why it's good. I thank God that I believe in Him. I thank God that I have faith in Him, because there's a lot of things I cannot do on my own. And I know that, and that's why I pray, and that's why I ask him for help, I ask him for support. So you guys in your religion, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you are Buddhism, whatever you have, whatever you believe in, let's come together and pray for Africa. I know things can change, because there's nothing impossible, and love, peace, and unity for Africa is possible. I believe that with every fiber of my being. I believe that 1,000%. So appreciate, guys. Galaye, good night. I love Africa. I hope you do too. Appreciate, guys. I love you. Bye bye. Good night.